Welcome, welcome to my lovely IHP community and the 5D Collective. Let us chit chat with Rumi for a little bit about the unhealthy, self-soothing, negative others. And basically, they don't help people who want to heal trauma. Why? Because they don't know how to self-regulate. So we're going to use Rumi to describe their one divine discontent, which is their idea of being a human. So, the doomsdayer, they could use Patrick Tiahan. It's a childhood trauma personality type. There's also the doer, there's the ghost, there's the person who is the hostile, and then there's also I lost my human gift. Let's see, doer, hostile, doomsday, ghost, and please appeaser. So yeah, whenever you see anybody who's still whining, they're not at Patrick Tiahan's yet. And they're not going to be somebody you learn to regulate from. They're going to have a low self-esteem, indirect communication. In fact, they don't know healthy self-soothing mechanisms and they want to keep doing unhealthy. So when that's spotted, you know where to go. And it's not to the Ghostbusters. Come to healthy adults and stay away from negative and stupid people because the lack of their ego's intelligence is going to be beyond a bejesus. Everyone's out to get me. Why are all these women always trying to get my men? Why are all these men always trying to get my... So that's what you got. Okay, let's talk. Oh, and then they just, talk shit about what's going on in the world all the time. They just use all these crappy stories. They don't have an interesting analysis to provide you. They just want to bring down the mood. Okay, so they either bring down the mood or they think lust is some kind of love energy, which is not. They also think any type of Cusco attitude is funny, and it's not. Okay, so you'll know the energy when you're around them, and they will know the energy if you're a healthy adult, which is why you won't be around each other too much, because they want to be blue and upset, or with envious, jealous, spiteful, catty people. They actively want to play out their human suffering. Remember how abandonment fears work? Yes, so when people don't heal their childhood stuff seriously, they go to the fancy man and women with suits. Remember the ones who say don't go to therapy because they're trying to break it down and tell you it keeps you trapped? So they look like Ursula to me. You poor unfortunate souls, and they all have the seaweed type body though, them included. They just look like they don't, but inside they still do. So here's how we describe this. I know your heart. I hear it breaking and groaning in darkest night when you imagine yourself to be silently cast adrift in sleep. It speaks to me, that sacred heart of yours, whispering its longing and bemoaning its divine discontent. It knows when something is amiss. It senses that something is not quite right as yet. There is a piece of the puzzle missing. Yes, it's called the human gift. But it's the human gift of you being able to become a healthy other, not the unhealthy, okay? So they don't become their sacred soul sister, their higher self. They don't become the lover and beloved. They don't choose to move beyond death and life and use their secondary human consciousness to know about Christ consciousness, integrated brain, and therefore to allow love to transform, and therefore for them to also have the courage to choose love. They don't choose love. No, they don't choose to have a new gown. Therefore to, again, integrate and rise up and know how to dance. Live, love, laugh. That is what those who are healthy others do, because we are the Jaguar's spirit. As feminines, we know how to calibrate safe haven, secure base. So we bring in certainty and courage because our mammalian heritage is that which is a safe haven, secure base person. The 1-year-old securely attached heals trauma because we are resplendent with grace. You don't have to be a person of faith. We have mindfulness and spirituality. So we surge on the uprising of love. That's why it's the 5D frequency, the all-encompassing hand. Yes, that's, again, a healthy person. We show the way of what it means to be functional adults with all spirituality and sciences come together. Terry Real talks all about what a healthy adult looks like. So does Dr. Daniel Fox, and so does Dr. Daniel Siegel. So it's only going to be when you have a person who does know how to be their higher self and use the courage of love. When they instead want to lament that life, they're just going to share and talk about the suffering bit, and that's why they're going to have this O heart, what is your excuse for all the blunders? Such loyalty is offered by the beloved, yet so much treason that comes from you. Such kindness is offered by the beloved, yet so much defiance and resistance comes from you. Such grace is offered by the beloved, yet so much fault and failure comes from you. Such attraction is offered by the beloved with sweetness and generosity. Let me see if there's one more. I like this one. This one is really nice. Yet such jealousy comes from you. In fact, jealousy is quite discussed by the good therapist. Those who don't go and heal their childhood, they project it upon others. Jealousy, envy, spite when we're happy. Yeah. With so much doubt and suspicion, as Dr. Daniel Fox presents, imagine someone not trusting a kind person, meaning they trust more an unkind person. Well, they want unhealthy, self-soothing partners and people in their life. It's called, Maria, but life is so awful. How dare you smile? And I'm just going to use my name as an example, and I'm going to be like, because why would I not smile? I know life is life, and I know Jesus suffered a lot more, so I'm not going to be whining. I know love. I don't know why you're whining. I actually have nothing to whine about inside my body. I know how to do the non-reactivity thing. It's not no emotion. It's called equanimity. I'm empowered. This is what it's like to be able and tap into the infinite you. Or you can be a Zen master who talks to you about laundry. And then you can pretend to use words like Zen master like he does. And again, he could use mindfulness, but do you bemoan your lack of faith? Do you berate yourself, blazing angel, because you have moments where you cannot bring yourself to trust in love more than you trust in your fear? Do you lament and worry that you could or should be living in a greater surrender? And yet, when is light more precious than when it arises from darkness? When is trust more admirable than when it involves an uncertain yet bold leap of faith? O human angel, your path is perfection in the divine sense, not in some artificial absence of struggle, but in the wrestling of darkness and light that ignites the fire within your holy heart. You do not need to struggle. Once you get over the hump, you're not struggling. That's why the Zen master is still where he's at, because he probably reads stuff like this and doesn't know about his integration of the brain and the use of a different word so that he can calibrate in a ventral vagal state. Because an emotion isn't a struggle unless I'm struggling with feeling, which I'm not. As Sadhguru will point out to us, where's his lovely wisdom of the day? You are a tiny speck in the universe, but this tiny speck has the potential to contain the whole cosmos. I can tell you all about it, and it's definitely not with the people who have unhealthy self-soothing mechanisms. They consistently want to bring humbug. They don't know how to do this, and when they meet it, they spite it, because that 1-year-old would want that human to go and get their self on board again with their own higher self and become the courage, but they choose not to go to people like Patrick Tiahan and to follow fancy men and women in suits. So they choose not to go and become part of that which is grace. The uprising wave again of love, the all-encompassing hand, integration of the brain is what shows you the way, but owning, observing, witnessing, and narrating your sense of self is what shows you the way. It is when you have chosen to move into love that you will know how to be your own beloved, but it will also be when you're stopping to spite humanity and saying, we have to suffer, we have to struggle, which is what all these other people like that Zen master. I'm surprised again that he wears the title because he doesn't know how to do emotions with mindfulness. I would have thought someone around him would have told him. So rise up now from your doubts and admonishments and let your human self be loved, even for all the doubt. You are still a cherished one of the great beloved and always shall be. That's if you get to the beloved. So the lover and the beloved is something beautiful, and it is when you move beyond consciousness, you caress the beloved. When you move into the unknown, beyond everything, the beloved caresses you. But since I have read it to my lovely listeners so many times, I'm going to leave us to something different. Let us talk about how love transforms you, and let us talk about the victory of Mariam. If you are longing to caress the moon, don't turn away from it. If you are not ill, why do you crawl under a blanket to hide? You are in a quarry of sweets. Why do you look so sour? You live in the spring of life. Why are you withered inside? Don't fight against yourself. Don't flee from what could be your glory. And that is exactly what unhealthy, self-soothing people do. They go and follow a fancy man and woman in suit who don't know their glory. So that's the part. You don't heal with people who dysregulate. You heal with people who know how to self-regulate, but it's because you have the will to want to self-regulate yourself. Your 1-year-old, your child parts, and this is what people are not doing when they're just using their mouth and they don't know how to do all the emotions. The reason I talk about one is because the others, they're not struggles. The most quote-unquote struggling, and I say quote-unquote because I find it ridiculous, because my panic attacks and fear, there's no physical threat. So logically, I say it's ridiculous, but of course it's hard. It's not hard anymore. What I'm saying is I, human being Maria, know it's ridiculous for me to think of it as a struggle when there's human beings who are struggling physically, but to be treated in certain ways when you're a person who does know how to be here, well, that's also ridiculous. So again, I'm here for the healthy adults and the ones who want to heal, and that's why our community, when the content will be out for membership, I'll have some announcements for that. But like a fearless moth, dive into the flame. Why be linked to your obsessions? Burn out in the flames until your heart and soul are enlightened. Get out of the old carcass and form yourself a new body. Why are you afraid of a fox when you descend from lions? Why be a lame ass when you have the strength of stallions? The beloved you seek will arrive to open the door to your fortune, for love is the key that opens all your locks. Rumi. You feel you are mortal, and I know you are divine. This is why we have spiritual bypassers. I will explain, humanly speaking. You can learn how to be in an integrated brain and have a flow state. That is when you will be overflowing with this divinity, is when you overflow with your humanity, when you are your whole 1-year-old heart, when you are a owner of the sense of self, and you don't have a story of struggle for emotions like the Zen master. And so mindfulness, spirituality, living and loving, it's this. When you're a healthy person, you know, like Sadhguru shares with us so many quotes, joy is not to be sought outside. It is intrinsic. If you do not mess up your mind, you will naturally be joyful. If you have healthy self-worth, you will naturally be joyful. If you have low self-esteem, you will not. You will seek to be the emotional fulfiller of each other, and that's where all those people who are like, I want someone, you want, who do you want? Who do you want? Ghostbusters. The very purpose of life is to experience life in its fullest depth and dimension. When people have low self-esteem, they just want to whine to each other. They don't care about the depth because they don't even have the depth. The Zen master has no depth. He calls emotions laundry, lack of depth. You used the word instead of just talking about emotions. You also made it sound like nobody can be enlightened, which means you don't know how to be in a flow state. Neuroscientists know how to be in a flow state better than a Zen master. So when we use words, for those of us of faith and of expansion of consciousness, we don't really give a shit of how we're using them. No, because we know that smart people, intelligence, they have fun together. Stupid people want to break it down. And when that happens, you're going to find any intellectual and intelligent person of heart is going to silence themselves, and they're going to be patient as the 3-year-old shares with you everything they know, and they're going to leave it alone, because why would I bother trying? You know everything already, and you don't have total clarity. If there's total clarity, there's no need for courage, because clarity will carry you across. So when you have ego who's blind, it's going to be clear because they're not having a good time. They're just trying to make themselves look better and get something. The spiritual process is not about moving away from life. It is to use everything in life, not to entangle yourself, but to liberate yourself. So once again, people who are not healthy adults, they don't know how to regulate their nervous system, and they choose not to by their thoughts. Every thought, every reverberation you create on the level of the mind changes the chemistry in your body. The reason we, the 5D collective, and or I, your host and content creator and mentor, has the capacity to say smiles because I do know that I might die tomorrow. I've known this my entire life. Marcus Aurelius gave me an answer to how to get out of it, and I chose, why would I spend any of my time in a biochemistry of fear? Which is why feminine, again, masculines or distorted feminines, they don't know what a fight means, because a coward is who uses fists and who continues to talk about suffering. In the year 2024, when we have good, smart trauma therapists, neuroscientists, and more who are describing to a T any of what I read, So bringing sciences and spirituality, it's really fun for me. The only ones who don't like to hear it, well, they like a story, and usually they're not healthy. They're competitive, which is also why we don't get to be around all of people, because, you know, when we spot Cusco, we don't tell Cusco we've spotted him. Cusco doesn't know anything. Cusco's the blind asshole because unhealthy others, like the man, am I not decent enough to be saluted? No, not really. It's not about decency, but the fact that you're making such a big deal, and that I consistently, contingently communicated that I didn't want to be your friend, and you're out here doing what you're doing, I don't have anything to say except for today I'm attachment trauma informed. So the answer is that human being could use Terry Real. He's not going to go money, wife, car, thinks he's a excellent poet. That's what unhealthy people do. They just bring their humbug. So we, on the other hand, we are like Michael Jordan here, healthy adults. We have the human gift of love as a groovy kind of love, and we laugh, love, and live together, because life's too short to spend it with insecurely attached people who don't want to live. They choose dysregulation, push-pull. They choose to stay in their childhood trauma personalities and not to do what the choo-choo train did and make it over the hump. And Michael Jordan, some people want it to happen. Some people wish it would happen. Others make it happen. And the ones of us who are making it happen, the heaven in the body, they're healthy adults. And then there's the ones who are healing from trauma, and they can spot us like a hawk, because they don't want the ones who want to stay in discontent and suffering. We do have a world that continues to chuck along, and there's not anything really new about all that is happening out there, because if you look at our history, it's a repeat. So the ones who are successful, the Jaguars, like Mick Jagger, but not the fake ones. It's more of, we're going to get to that in our next episode maybe. So the jaguar, the animal, the jaguar, she protects the Amazon, and she is never prey. She actually is who in times of fear brings courage and certainty. That's our 5D collective of sciences and spirituality people, because their intelligence is like no other, since they have integration in the brain, and a happy heart, and a loving heart, and an open heart, and a fulfilling heart, and their mind, it is aligned with the heart and soul, their true calling. I'm a human, you're a human. We know how to regulate our emotions, so we shift from one self to another self, but really we don't change ourselves. That's the beauty of pure consciousness. And pure consciousness, your whole 3-year-old heart with your 1-year-old safe haven, secure base, which is why you are your own lover and beloved. So anybody who wants to be a sad story of a human and they don't want to choose this, they can keep on hanging out with you poor unfortunate souls, so sad but true, and having funny stories. They're not funny stories, but we're going to make fun of them when we get our membership content out, because that way I know that you're truly healthy adults who understand what's going on, and that way we can also make sure that this content stays as small, funny as can be. Anyways, you know what I'm talking about if you are smart, which I'm sure you all are if you're sticking to the end of it. And not because I'm smart in the sense of smarter than anybody. No, what I mean is that you understand the importance of thought and how every reverberation that you do create does make a ripple. So when we do love, we know it will hit all. And those who want to love, healthy adults are attracted to healthy adults. Some people want to pretend they are, and they really do. But the fact is, they can tell when they're not. You know why? Excuse me. You're confusing sciences and spirituality. No, I'm bringing them together. No, you see, I'm a mystic too. Maybe I didn't say it right because I speak English usually. I'm bringing together sciences, spirituality, and spiritual or mystic. I'm bringing all of it. I do personal development, mentorship, and this is a conversation I had. No, you see, I have, and I get to show and tell now. So I got Buddha over here. I got quantum physics over here. Saying, you know what? Let's do this. I'm pretty sure we're headed in the same direction. I have had conversations with others in the past along this line. So how about you tell me what you're thinking, and then I will let you know if, yes, that's where I was headed, if you will. But I'm still, as I said, bringing together, connecting the dots between spiritual sciences, okay? So you tell me, Yes, we are heading in the same direction. For what I'm doing, though, I will pause and continue my conversation, but I can send you some links if you're so kind and or interested. Let's exchange notes, and there you go. So when you have, again, people who don't know how to be a person, we're okay with not having to know anything about them. They're going to not know what hit them because really they think that they're right. And I'm looking for a quote right now, and here it is. Melanie Greenberg, PhD. Anyone with fears is how I'm going to read it. I'm going to abandonment, injustice, shame, humiliation. Anybody who hasn't gotten their whole child up for it, yeah. They become a self-fulfilling prophecy, which is why an unhealthy other, you don't want to be around them because they have a prophecy, which is based on their insecurities. So they see others based on their own emotional, mental, and physical needs, but they lack self-awareness, accountability, and regulation. So their needs drive them, not the other way around. They're not in a relationship as a functional adult. They're in a relationship to want to be supported. And basically, if they're in a mood, they want you to be in a mood with them because that's exactly how their dysregulated nervous system works because they're not trying to get over the hump like the little choo-choo train did. So healthy people, they want to love, laugh, and live together. And those who are healing trauma, they want to be with people like us because it's a nervous system. It's not about the lack of there being unsafe stuff. We know about it. It's about us being able to be the jaguar who in times of fear stands with safe haven, secure base, which by the way does have a ripple effect. The 5D frequency is not just a frequency, it's actually thanks to sciences and their information that we get to know how to calibrate our nervous systems. While the 4D and 3D want stories because they want to be superheroes and super capes, we don't have stories in 5D land. We're human. Jesus suffered and other people suffer. The ones who are like a Zen master, he is wearing a title that he really should be reconsidering or putting into practice more mindfulness when he has laundry come up. So at the end of the day, thank you for stopping by, and we might be back with a little bit more. We'll find out. Have a great one.